From high above Earth, in the dark silence of space, 5 alien warships hovered in stealth. They drifted quietly, invisible to human radar, just outside the planet's orbital range. Massive and smooth like black stone, the ships didn't move much. But inside, something very alive was watching. On the bridge of the lead vessel, glowing blue eyes flickered as alien officers leaned forward. A massive holoscreen showed live footage from 1,000 probe drones scattered across the planet. Forests, deserts, cities, oceans all streamed into view. The aliens saw humans in metal boxes they called cars, shouting into small communication devices. Others hunted animals with rifles in the cold woods. Some gathered in buildings, arguing over laws and old paper books. The Galactic Council observers watched, and they laughed. "They still burn fossil fuel," one hissed. Tapping his claws against the control console, "They fight each other over food, land, and skin color," another said, his eyes narrowed in amusement. "This species isn't ready for space travel, let alone war. They're still building with bricks," another said, sneering. "Primitive," the leader, Commander Chirac of the Usual Empire, chuckled deeply. "They're nothing. Just another weak planet. Once we finish this scan, we send them mining crews and start processing their resources. If they resist, we flatten their cities." A sharp beep interrupted the laughter. The room quieted. A younger officer turned from his station, antennae twitching. "Commander, one of the deep scan satellites has picked up something unusual." Chirac's smile faded. "What kind of unusual?" The officer brought up a second screen. "Background radiation from several areas on the planet is increasing. Slowly, but consistently. It's not natural levels." Chirac leaned. "In where?" "Primarily near former military bases. Some underground locations. The patterns look like power buildup. Possibly energy weapons charging." A silence fell over the bridge. Another officer spoke, this one older and scarred. "Commander, that's impossible. This planet hasn't even reached light-speed travel. They don't have energy-based weaponry." "Perhaps not publicly," the younger officer said. "But something is rising, quietly." Commander Chirac frowned. "Could be an anomaly. Continue scanning. Do not raise alerts yet, but someone else on the ship wasn't so sure. Far below on the surface of Earth, in a mountain bunker buried beneath kilometers of rock, a man stared at a flickering screen. He wore a plain gray uniform. On his chest, a symbol with no flag, no name. Just a black circle. His hair was graying, but his eyes were sharp. "Package confirmed," he said into a secure mic. "We've got movement in the upper thermosphere. They're watching." "Do they know we've seen them?" asked a voice on the line. "Not yet," he replied. "But they will." Behind him, dozens of silent technicians worked in front of old-looking computers, most of which weren't connected to any known network. The screens displayed alien symbols, decoded transmissions, and video feeds from orbit that no civilian knew existed. Earth had been watching too. Back on the alien vessel, debate began to stir. "This could be nothing," said one council member. "Old reactors leaking radiation. Humans have no discipline. They wiped out their own ozone layer with spray cans," another agreed. "They are barely smarter than apes." But the scout officer Varn felt different. He stood straight and raised his voice, risking disrespect. "We've seen similar signals from other worlds before," Varn said. "Back when the Zalath hive scouted Gora's prime. Same slow buildup. It wasn't a leak. It was preparation." Commander Chirac narrowed his eyes. "You think Earth is hiding something?" "Think we shouldn't assume they're helpless?" Varn replied. "We've underestimated species before." Chirac stared at him for a moment, then smirked. "You want to prove your theory, Officer Vaughn?" "Yes, Commander." "Then take a team. Land somewhere quiet. Remote. Siberia, perhaps. Observe there. Defenses up close. If they're primitive, you'll come back with proof. They're not." "We'll know soon enough," Varn said. The dropship cut through Earth's atmosphere in silence, invisible to human satellites. It glided over the icy forests of eastern Siberia, where no light shone and no cities stood. The land stretched, flat and cold for hundreds of miles. It's perfect for a secret landing. Varn's Team 5 scouts, trained in stealth, biomasking, and silent extraction, prepared for the mission. Their armor shimmered as it adapted to the environment. Heat signatures suppressed, language translation, implants active, non-lethal stun rifles ready. No one wanted to start a war, not yet. The ship landed softly in a clearing, surrounded by snow-covered trees. The ramp opened. Varn and his team stepped out into the cold. For 30 seconds, then the trees began to shift. Varn's eyes widened. It wasn't the wind. Something was coming fast. Something big. Defensive positions, Varn shouted, raising his weapon. But it was too late. Out of the tree line, black shapes moved like shadows. No heat signatures, no sound. Only flashing steel and sudden bursts of light. One by one, the alien scouts fell. Not a shot was fired from them. Not a scream was heard. Only silence. And then the ramp of the drop. Ship began to close automatically. Sensing danger, the ship lifted into the air, pilotless, heading back to orbit with no survivors. Hours later, aboard the command vessel. A red alert flared across the bridge. No signal from the scout team, the officer said. The dropship returned, but the crew is missing. Commander Chirac stood slowly, played the last transmission. The screen flickered, a brief flash of trees, a shadow moving too fast to follow, and a cold, still face Verns, frozen in death. Then static, no heat. No explosions, just elimination. Chirac turned to the council. Do we still believe they are primitive? No one answered. On Earth, the man in the gray uniform watched the same footage. Behind him, a hologram of the alien dropship played on. Loop. Each movement, each sound, recorded and dissected. He smiled. They sent scouts, he said quietly. They wanted to see if we were weak. A younger officer next to him asked, should we alert the global defense grid? The older man shook his head. No. Let them think we're still primitive a little longer. Let them underestimate us. He turned to the wall behind him. A massive screen showed alien fleet positions, hidden bunkers across Earth, secret orbital satellites with weapons. No civilian knew existed. Activate Project Emberlight, he said. Lights flickered across the room, deep below the bunker. Ancient reactors came alive. Earth had been preparing for years. The enemy thought the war hadn't started yet. They were wrong. The Galactic Command ship Direction's Honor hovered in low orbit, waiting for word from its elite scout team. But as minutes turned to hours, silence echoed louder than any alarm. The dropship returned, empty. No voices, no signals, just blood. On the ramp and weapons that hadn't been fired, then came the transmission. It's only 3 seconds of footage before static. Trees, a shadow, and the face of Officer Varn. It's cold and lifeless. The bridge of the Direction's Honor fell silent. The war hadn't started, it had already begun. Commander Chirac stood in front of the massive holoscreen on his ship's bridge. His long fingers tapped the edge of the console as static buzzed from the speakers. A looping feed of the failed mission kept playing 3 seconds of pure silence. Then chaos, a snow-covered forest, something moving fast, and the frozen face of Scout Officer Varn. The transmission ended, again and again. This was not a weather issue, Chirac growled. There was no storm, no malfunction. Something killed my best team. Across the room, Counselor Dreva, a thin, pale being from the Lystari Dominion, spoke coldly. Siberia's empty wilderness. If there are humans there, they are not advanced. Primitive creatures with sticks. Primitive creatures don't slaughter a fully cloaked Ishal recon team in 15 seconds. Chirac snapped. Dreva leaned back. You're overreacting, am I? Chirac replied. He turned and pointed at the ship logs. Varn was trained in silent ops, that armor can block heat, sound, even most radar. Nothing should have seen them. Nothing. The bridge officers looked uneasy. Commander, the ship's intelligence tech said quietly. We're also detecting unusual patterns in Earth's orbital behavior. Chirac turned. Explain. We sent out a passive signal to map satellite density. Results came back. Strange. Several satellites don't appear on Earth's public communication networks. They're silent. No pings. But they're watching. Some are armed, camouflaged, weaponized with unknown tech. More silence. So, Chirac said softly, they're hiding their strength. The tech nodded. They're pretending to be primitive. Down on Earth, in a snowy ridge deep in Siberia, the air shimmered. A small team of humans moved through the snow, wearing white armor that bent the light around them. They carried weapons that made no sound. One of them bent down to study the blood-stained snow where the dropship had landed. No footprints, the soldier said. They were floating, not walking. Another soldier nodded. Hover boots, high-end alien tech, but not high enough. A third soldier knelt beside the body of Officer Varn. What remained of him? His helmet had been crushed by something heavy. The soldier placed a hand on his earpiece. Target confirmed, he said. They've started deploying soft scouts. Understood, came the voice on the other end. You're authorized for Phase 2. Clean the site. No evidence. I guess, sir. The team moved fast. Within minutes, the bodies, the debris, even the footprints in the snow were gone. Only the frozen trees remained. Silent witnesses in orbit, the Galactic Council met in holographic form aboard the Draxian's Honor. We must send more forces, said one counselor. No, another warned. This could be a trap. We can't afford to delay. Earth is rich in minerals, rare earths, and bioresources. Then we take it. Chirac said nothing as they argued. He stared at the frozen face of Officer Varn on the monitor. Then, finally, he spoke. Enough. We will send a small assault team, no heavy firepower yet. Just enough to take a human settlement and test there. Real strength? You still believe these apes are dangerous? Dreva scoffed. Chirac smiled coldly. I believe we don't know them yet. That makes them dangerous. At the Earth War Council, buried 5 miles below Greenland's icy surface, an emergency meeting was underway. Generals, scientists, hackers, diplomats, and AI strategists sat at a long table, each one representing a continent or special unit. A central screen, footage from the Siberia mission was replayed. Dropship confirmed, said General Wu of the Eastern Coalition. Species, Usual. Recon unit. Full stealth tech. Neutralized in under 30 seconds, said Dr. Patel, head of orbital surveillance. We didn't even have to activate the plasma towers. Did we recover anything useful? Another general asked. Yes, said a voice from the back. A woman in a black coat stepped forward. She tapped a tablet and brought up a glowing piece of alien tech. We have their translator core. We've cracked 62% of their command language. They were laughing at us, mocking our primitive tech. Their words. The room stayed silent. Then, the president of the Earth War Council, a calm man named Marcus Rees, spoke. We've been hiding too long, he said. They know we exist. They've underestimated us. Good. Let them. But from this point forward, assume full orbital surveillance. Phase 1 is over. Phase 2 begins. And what is Phase 2? Asked a nervous young officer. Marcus leaned forward. We let them invade. Far above Earth, the second dropship descended not into snow this time, but toward a rural American town in the Midwest. Small farms, long roads, wooden barns, looked peaceful. The dropship landed behind a hill at dusk. 6 alien warriors emerged. Scanning the area, thermal scan shows 20 life forms nearby. One said, primitive weapons only. Another added, they moved forward, silent and quick, but they didn't notice the drone overhead. It wasn't broadcasting. It wasn't military. It was a farm surveillance drone, but it had been modified, back in a small underground cabin beneath the cornfields. A retired cyber warfare engineer named Kara. Deacon sipped coffee and watched them through her terminal. She smiled. Grandkids. Go to the safe room, she called. The house rumbled. Above, the aliens stepped on a pressure plate hidden under the dirt. The ground exploded. Not with fire, but with magnetic shock pulses. 3 aliens collapsed instantly, their armor overloaded. The others scrambled only to face a woman in her 60s holding a rail, shotgun with custom rounds built from scavenged space junk. You picked the wrong planet. She muttered and pulled the trigger. Back on the Draxian's honor, alarms flared. Again, second team is gone, the officer said. Chirac stared at the floor. How many humans were there? Unknown. It was supposed to be a quiet farming town. Send a scout drone. I want to see. The drone feed buzzed to life. The alien officers leaned in. The camera zoomed in on the wreckage of the dropship. Alien armor scattered and spray-painted. Across the hull of the ship, in thick red letters, "Welcome to Earth, Commander Chirac," finally turned to the others. "No more testing," he said. "No more teams." We turned to the weapons officer. "Prepare the invasion fleet." The ground shook in South America. In the middle of the Amazon basin, trees fell like matchsticks. Something massive was moving beneath the canopus, something not built, but grown. The aliens had stopped playing games. No more scouts. No more stealth. Now they sent Bio-Titans, living siege monsters, each the size of a skyscraper. Bred in vats of war on distant worlds, they thought nothing on Earth could stop them, but deep under Nevada's red deserts. Inside a facility the world forgot. A vault door opened, labeled only Area 12. The humans had been hiding something too, and it wasn't human anymore. The invasion had changed commander. Chirac's patience had ended. No more scouting. No more quiet landings. He stood before the holographic war map of Earth and marked 3 locations. The Amazon jungle, the Sahara Desert, Central Asia. Release the Bio-Titans, he ordered. The bridge fell silent. Even the war-hardened officers stared at him. "You're serious?" one whispered. "They want to pretend they're strong?" Chirac growled. "Let's see if their trees and cities can stop this." The order was sent. 3 Bio-Titans were launched from orbit, each in its own containment pod organic war engines, hundreds of feet tall, armored in bone and muscle, with acidic blood, and minds only for destruction. In the Amazon, the first pod struck like a meteor. The jungle exploded. Trees snapped. Birds scattered from the wreckage. Something climbed out, twisted, wet. And roaring, it stood on 2 legs, taller than a skyscraper. Its arms dragged the ground, each finger tipped with living metal. Its skin was thick and armored, its chest pulsing with glowing veins. It let out a scream that shattered glass. 2 miles away, a Brazilian military outpost sent jets. They never made it back. The monster crushed tanks like toys. Then it began walking north straight. Toward Manaus population, 2.2 million. In the Nevada desert, inside a mountain sealed since the Cold War, General Amos's heart watched the chaos unfold on 10 different screens. He said nothing, just stared behind him. Scientists and techs whispered nervously. "We're not ready," one of them said. General Hart didn't look back. "We don't have a choice." "But Area 12 hasn't been opened in 40 years. Then open it." But he turned. His eyes were cold. Now, the lights flickered. A series of old rusted vault doors began to unlock, one by one. A long hallway buried under rock. And secrecy lit up for the first time in decades. At the end of the hallway was a chamber. Inside that chamber, something waited. The Bio-Titan in South America smashed into a city. Concrete crumbled under its feet. Bullets bounced off its hide. Helicopters fired missiles. It ignored them. It screamed again, this time with a sound that rattled bones. People ran. Some didn't make it. Far away, satellites watched. So did the aliens, on the Draxian's honor. Commander Chirac smiled. Now they see what real power looks like. But then one of his officers frowned. "Commander, we're getting interference. From North America." "Explain." "A signal, buried, ancient. It's activating something deep beneath the surface." "Location, Nevada desert." Chirac narrowed his eyes. "What are the humans doing?" "In the desert." Something woke up. "Inside the vault, steel arms detached from?" the wall and pulled back a cover. Behind it was a pod not alien, not natural. It looked human. But the armor around it pulsed with energy that no nation had claimed. On the side, Unit 12A, Nemesis PROTOCOL, the pod opened. A figure stepped out 7 feet tall, clad in black armor that shimmered with alien patterns. Its face was covered by a blank helmet, carried no visible weapon. It didn't need one. General Hart stared at it. "Do you remember your mission?" The figure nodded slowly, voice like steel scraping stone. "Terminate hostile life forms. Protect Earth." In the Amazon, the Bio-Titan roared and lifted a building off its foundations. Then it stopped. Its glowing chest flickered. A ripple of distortion moved through the sky. Something had entered the upper atmosphere from North America, moving faster. Then sound. It wasn't a missile. It was a drop pod. The Titan looked up. Too late. The pod slammed into its chest at hypersonic speed, blowing it backward into the jungle. Trees split. Earth cracked. Shockwave hit the nearby river and sent it racing backwards from the crater. The figure in black armor rose. Nemesis, its helmet, locked onto the wounded. Bio-Titan. Target acquired. It ran forward faster than any human. Should the Titan lashed out with a spiked arm? Nemesis caught it with one hand. Then it crushed it. The Titan screamed and pulled back. Nemesis jumped, landing on the creature's chest. Its armor lit up. A pulse of white energy fired directly into the Titan's core. For the first time, the alien creature showed fear. It tried to run. Nemesis didn't let it. It punched straight into the beast's heart, and something inside the Titan detonated. Mile-wide blasts blew through the jungle. Silence followed. Then static. Then the signal returned. Target terminated. On the Draxian's honor, the bridge went quiet. One of the Bio-Titans had been destroyed by a single human. "Unit, what was that?" an officer whispered. Shirak didn't speak. "Should we send another Titan?" Someone asked. "No," he said at last. "We send a warning to the other commanders. Earth is not unarmed. Earth is not unready. We are at war." He looked at the screen again. The crater where their monster once stood was still smoking, and standing in the center was the human weapon still alive, still watching. In Nevada, General Hart watched from the command room. One of the scientists turned to him, still pale. "Sir, how many units like that do we have?" Hart didn't blink. "Only one." "But what if more Titans come?" Hart looked at the global map. "They will. And when they do," he reached for a switch. "We activate Project Revenant." Back. In space, deep in the alien fleet, panic began to spread. A primitive species was not supposed to do this. They weren't supposed to fight back. They weren't supposed to win. But now, Earth had answered, with monsters of its own. The United Nations Emergency Chamber was in chaos. Delegates shouted. Screens flashed red warnings. Countries accused each other of betrayal and incompetence. The alien invasion had broken all rules. Cities were under siege, millions displaced. Satellites burned. Then every feed across the planet was overridden. A voice spoke from orbit. Not human, cold. Mocking, "You are primitives." "This war is already over." Moments later, the International Space Station exploded, broadcast live. That was the final straw. Within hours, United Nations fell apart. But Earth didn't surrender. It formed something new. Something born from war. The Earth War Council. And this time, there were no politics, only survival. Full story, third person, simple English, approximately 2,000 words. Smoke rose over 5 continents. Cities burned. Entire regions were dark. The internet stuttered, flickered, then returned with only one message. Across every screen, this message is from the Galactic Command Fleet. Earth is now under control. Any further resistance will result in extermination. In New York, the United Nations held an emergency meeting. It was supposed to be a moment of unity. It wasn't. Inside the Grand Hall, delegates argued with red eyes and shaking hands. The Russians fired on a civilian evacuation ship. No, that was alien bat. You don't know the full story. India refuses to share alien tech we recovered. America has 20 alien prisoners and won't release a single one. Everyone was angry. Everyone was afraid. A live feed behind them showed alien warships moving over the Atlantic. One of them opened fire on a cargo vessel. Thousands dead. In seconds, panic spread across the room. Then the lights flickered. Screens turned black. A new symbol appeared, a spiral with 2 stars behind it. An alien face appeared, thin, purple-skinned, long eyes. Cold, the voice echoed in 100 languages. You are primitives, divided, weak. This planet is lost. Lay down your weapons, serve, or die. Then the image cut, and so did the International Space Station. A flash of light, a streak of falling metal, and silence. The room went still, and then the shouting began again, louder than before. But no one noticed that several national flags were already being taken down. Across Earth, chaos took over. Governments fell. Airports, jammed nuclear facilities went dark. The old world was ending in fast. But in hidden places, people were preparing for something different. Deep beneath Greenland, inside the world's seed bunker, a woman in a black military coat stared at a screen. Her name was Commander Alara Voss, once a top UN advisor. Now, she led something no longer. Bound by treaties or borders, she tapped a key. Across the globe, silent bunkers lit up. Special units checked in. Orbital command centers aligned. Civilian leaders vanished. The Earth War. Council came online in a dark conference room below sea level. The first full meeting was called. 12 people sat at a circular table. No flags. No national emblems. Only a glowing map of Earth, marked in red zones and active enemy sectors. General Hart from Nevada. Commander Voss from Greenland. Dr. Patel, orbital engineer from India. Kara Deacon, the cyber war expert. Yusef Sander, African. Commando leader, AI Tanaka, quantum weapons chief from Tokyo. And 6 others, ghosts, legends, scientists. Soldiers, no politics. Only War Commander Voss spoke first. We lost 3 million in the last 2 weeks. The United Nations has collapsed. Major cities are either offline or overrun. Alien biotitans have been neutralized in 3 zones, but more are coming. Dr. Patel tapped a button. A new hologram appeared, an alien mothership the size of Manhattan. It's coming from Jupiter's orbit. ETA, 3 days. What payload? It's unknown, but energy readings are extreme. It's likely a command carrier or a planet killer. General Hart cracked his knuckles. Time to stop hiding. Back on the Draxian's honor, Commander Chirac watched Earth with growing unease. One of his aides approached. Commander, we have broken their leadership structures. The United Nations has failed. Chirac nodded. And why are resistance attacks increasing? Because the aide hesitated. They made something new. A global strike network. No nation, no leader. Just Earth. Chirac turned sharply. They call it the Earth War Council. The commander's claws tapped the steel floor. Prepare counter-espionage units. Hack their systems. Break their unity. But the aide shook his head. We've already tried. Their network is not centralized. Every command cell is autonomous. If one falls, 10 more rise. Chirac's eyes narrowed. Who designed that? The aide hesitated. One human. Name, Kara Deacon. Former cybersecurity engineer. She's adapting alien systems against us. Chirac stared at the stars beyond the glass. They were never primitive, he whispered. Meanwhile, the Earth War Council launched its first counteroffensive, codenamed Operation Emberlight. 12 human teams launched from hidden bases. They didn't target ships, they targeted command relays. Each team carried one job: plant an EMP bomb inside the alien communication structure, disable orbital coordination, and vanish. And they did. On the third night, 3 major alien fleets lost synchronization. Turrets didn't fire. Ships floated without orders, and Earth struck back. A hidden orbital cannon built secretly on the dark side of the moon, fired its first shot. One alien, dreadnought gone. The council called the shot. Message sent. Across Earth, people saw what happened, and hope returned. The news spread. We're still fighting. We're not dead. We're not primitive from the ruins of old nations. Scientists, farmers, hackers, pilots, kids with drones, ex-soldiers. Everyone joined the effort. It wasn't about governments anymore. It was about Earth. Survival, unity, rage, and unity. Rage and unity. Unity and unity. E, 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 A, E, A, S, A, E, Aid, S, went Enders. Revenge the Earth War Council. Didn't ask for peace. They didn't beg for mercy. They did one thing. Declared war on the galaxy. Deep in the Nevada desert, massive bay doors opened beneath a fake salt flat. Dozens of giant black ships rose on pillars of plasma. Their hulls were made from scavenged alien alloys. But their hearts were human rage, grit, and defiance forged into steel above Earth. Alien fleets waited for an easy target. Then something unexpected happened. Earth launched its own fleet, not slow. Primitive rockets, but sleek. Weaponized warships designed in secret bunkers across the world. Alien scanners tried to lock on. Nothing. The human ships had no identifiable signatures, no patterns. They flew like ghosts. The galaxy went quiet, and Earth made its first move. The world watched in silence. Satellites, what remained of them, broadcasted the event from orbit. The alien warships saw the surface of Earth crack open, not from weapons, but from launch bays. Dozens of them, from Nevada, from Siberia, from the Australian outback, from deep inside frozen mountains in Patagonia. One by one, black ships rose into the sky. They didn't look like anything from Earth's past. No flags, no flags, no. Just matte black armored hulls and glowing plasma cores. Sleek, long, and terrifying. The first fleet ever built by a united Earth. Not for exploration, not for diplomacy, for war. Commander Chirac stood on the bridge of the Draxian's Honor, watching the feeds with narrowing eyes. "This isn't possible," his second-in-command muttered. Chirac didn't answer. He was watching one human ship in particular. Designation, Irvsna. It had just activated what the humans called shadow drive. The vessel shimmered, then vanished. No warp signature, no hyperspace ripple, no trace, just gone. A moment later, one of the smaller Draxian patrol ships exploded in orbit without warning, without radar lock. The Revenant reappeared behind the debris, fired again, and vanished once more. The aliens had no defense, no counter, and now they knew. Earth wasn't waiting anymore. Hours earlier. Deep inside the Sierra Base control bunker, Earth's War Council gathered in silence. Ilara Voss stared at the massive screen showing real-time data. She turned to Kara Deacon. "Is the fleet ready?" Kara nodded. "AI targeting is stable. Stealth systems are holding. Shadow drives online. Full power. They're ready." Lara looked around the room, then launched them. The general beside her frowned. "This will show our hand." Replied quietly. "Then let them see our hand. Right before we close it into a fist." The launch began. Dozens of black ships tore into the sky. Faster than any satellite could track, they didn't move like rockets. They pivoted mid-flight. Some even stopped mid-air. Before zipping upward like bullets, alien orbital defense systems scrambled to intercept. Too late. The human fleet punched through Earth's upper atmosphere like a coordinated storm of blades. The first engagement happened over the Pacific. A squadron of alien bombers was preparing a firebomb run on New Zealand. 3 Earth ships dropped out of nowhere, silent, fast, brutal. They didn't use missiles. They used railguns quiet. Magnetized slugs accelerated to near-light speeds. One bomber exploded. Mid-sentence as its pilot screamed into psalms. Another was sliced in half. The last tried to retreat. A small drone detached from the human vessel attached to its hull. Disassembled the bomber atom by atom with microscopic AI bots. The alien crew didn't even get time to understand what had happened. On the galactic grid, panic spread. Messages poured through military channels. Earth has deployed atmospheric warships. They're invisible to scans. No signature. We lost Fleet G-29 in orbit. No survivors. Requesting reinforcements. Earth is not under control. In the capital world of the Galactic, Council High Speaker Trivan received the reports. He scrolled in silence. Primitive, they said. He whispered. His advisors stood frozen. He looked up. They reverse-engineered our technology, adapted it, and made it better. One advisor spoke nervously. Should we call for planetary-level destruction? Trivan shook his head. If we destroy them, we prove they were right to fear us. If we fail to destroy them, we prove we're weak. He turned to the giant star-dash map, and for the first time, marked Earth in red. Not for conquest, for caution, back in Earth's orbit. The human fleet regrouped. Losses, minimal. Damage, superficial. Morale, rising. On board the flagship Revenant. Captain, Amir Lawson stared at the tactical map. We just cleared 3 orbital layers. Should we keep pushing? Commander Voss's voice crackled through the comms. Not yet. Make them wonder what else we're hiding. Amir smiled. Copy that. Turned to his crew. Shadow drives off. Let them see us. Let them feel fear. Fleet decloaked in perfect formation. Dozens of warships. Unified. Silent. Waiting across the galaxy. Every species who thought Earth was weak suddenly went quiet. No more jokes about primitive humans. No more laughter. Just one terrifying truth. Earth had joined the stars. And it came ready for war. Somewhere deep in the asteroid belts of Saturn. A final alien scout transmitted a message to all galactic units. Earth's fleet is not exploratory. It is surgical, coordinated, deadly. This is no longer a containment scenario. This is a war. And for the first time in generations, the galaxy feared what came next. It began with a single jump. The Revenant, Earth's flagship, vanished into the void beyond Mars. Its coordinates were unknown to the galaxy till now, deep in the asteroid belt. Hidden alien outposts had been broadcasting Earth's weaknesses. Across the stars. Coordinates. Frequencies. DNA. Weaknesses. The outpost thought it was safe. It was wrong. The Revenant reappeared in total silence. No energy spike. No warning. Just presence. The alien guards reached for weapons, but by then, the first railgun round had already been fired. It wasn't just a strike, it was a message. And inside that outpost, humans found something terrifying. Earth wasn't the first world the galaxy had turned into a battlefield. They'd done it to hundreds of planets before. But Earth was different. Earth was ready to fight back. Captain Amir Lawson stood on the Revenant's bridge, watching the final countdown tick toward 0. Shadow drive. Is holding steady, reported Kara Deacon from the console. Target coordinates locked. Do it, Amir said. A faint hum filled the ship. There was no flash, no shake, no sensation of speed. One moment, the Revenant floated above Earth. The next, it was surrounded by silence and rock. The asteroid belt, and there dead ahead was the target. A massive structure built into the side of a hollowed-out asteroid. No markings, no external lights, it's just a cold gray surface. But its signal pulses told the truth. Alien spy outpost. The Galactic. Earth had been watched by this station for over 200 years now. It was time to end that. Inside the alien station, Commander Rekla of the Athron species studied the stream of data flowing across her screen. Earth's launch pattern is chaotic. She muttered, "They've no clear war doctrine, No command hierarchy, just scattered aggression. Another officer approached. Do we transmit the latest biological profiles? Rekla nodded. Send it all. Neural patterns, blood chemistry, weapon energy. Spectrums let the council prepare the extermination. The officer tapped a crystal device and frowned. No response. Our signals. Being jammed? What? Rekla snapped. By whom? Then the walls shook. Not violently. Just enough to make the lights flicker. And then the alarms screamed from above the outpost. The Revenant opened fire not to destroy, to breach. Special kinetic warheads pounded the asteroid's hull, boring. Perfect tunnel through rock and alloy. The human ship moved with clinical precision. Before the last impact landed, drop pods launched from the underside of the ship. Each one contained a team. Each one had a mission. Amir's voice rang in every soldier's helmet. No mercy. No hesitation. This is the place that broadcasted our extinction. Show them what Earth does to spies. Inside the outpost, chaos spread. Atherin guards scrambled to repel the intruders. Okay, but the humans weren't just fast. They were brutal. Silent, black. Armor, red visors, pulse rifles. Zero hesitation. One team took the command bridge. Another reached the data core. A third cleared the barracks with flash, drones and nanoblades. The aliens weren't ready. They'd been trained to fight predictable species. But Earth had no pattern. Humans didn't follow rules. They broke them in the lower chambers. Kara Deacon led the hacking team to the central server. It was alive. Built from biomechanical tech. It tried to fight her intrusion, but Kara didn't stop. Show me what they've been hiding, she whispered. The screen changed. Images flashed, dozens, of planets all once full of life, now dash-glassed, bombed, dead. Their populations labeled non-compliant. Column: Earth, labeled primitive, containable, disposable. Kara's hands shook. Not anymore, she whispered. She downloaded it all. Names, coordinates, everything. Then she triggered the virus. Through the war gallery, that's what he called it, because the walls were filled with trophies, skulls, weapons, shards of planetary flags. Species he didn't recognize. Cultures that no longer existed. Some of them looked eerily human. One plaque read, Species 749. Last words. We will rise again. He clenched his fists. Not this time. Not Earth. Behind him. The soldiers planted the demolition charges, 10 minutes to detonation, on the way out. The humans found a cryo chamber. Inside was a single being, old, scarred eyes. Closed, its skin was almost human, but its arms were too long. Its fingers had claws. Its heartbeat was slow. A data tag on the glass read, Species 749 survivor holds. Information on adaptive resistance. Keep sedated. Dangerous if awakened. The human team stared in silence. Captain Amir stepped forward and pressed the release. The alien inside opened its eyes, not with terror, but relief. You are not them, it whispered. No, Amir replied. We're Earth. The alien nodded slowly. Then maybe. This galaxy has one more chance. The Revenant left the outpost seconds before it exploded. From orbit, the humans watched the fireball ripple through the asteroid belt. No debris would remain. No signal. Just silence and a warning. Back aboard the Revenant. Kara uploaded the stolen data. Dozens of red dots appeared on the star. Map. Every one a former world like Earth. Every one wiped out, but one blinked blue. Still active. Still resisting. She pointed. What's that? Amir smiled. Our next stop. This time Earth wasn't just defending. It was liberating. The data Earth, recovered from the alien outpost, revealed something horrifying. The Galactic Council had one last plan. One final weapon, codenamed Project Helix. Its core was built not from alien science, but from Earth's own DNA, captured. Decades ago, studied, spliced, evolved, The Council had turned human aggression, adaptability, and emotion into a living weapon designed to destroy Earth from the inside. And now it was ready. It had already been released. But the worst part? It looked human, and it remembered everything. The Revenant cruised through deep space. Its interior lights dimmed as Captain Amir Lawson read the decrypted data. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He just stared at the screen. Across from him, Kara Deacon waited. Finally, Amir muttered, "They used us." Kara's voice was tense. "What do you mean?" He turned the screen. It showed a lab report. Alien text, translated by Earth's AI. Images of a lab. A young human child strapped to a table. Electrodes. Growth charts. DNA chains warped with foreign genes. Kara covered her mouth. "That's a human." "No," Amir said coldly. "It was decades ago when Earth first detected strange satellites in orbit. No one realized a silent abduction program had already begun. The Council had stolen human infants, not many. Just enough to run tests to train something new, something Earth wouldn't expect. They wanted a hybrid weapon, a living being that thought like a human, but obeyed alien commands. Project Helix was born. A human. Body, an alien-coded mind. It grew faster, stronger, smarter, but worst of all it knew how Earth would fight because it had Earth's instincts. Inside a darkened chamber aboard the Council's war station, figure sat in silence, tall, muscular, pale eyes that never blinked. They called it Subject Zero, but to itself. It had a name, a human name, Eli. He remembered green trees, the smell of rain, a woman's voice calling him son. And then nothing. Years of training, pain, upgrades. He wasn't machine. Not fully, but he wasn't human anymore either. He was built to destroy Earth, but part of him didn't want to. That part was waking up. The Council's generals watched from a high command room. "Subject Zero is restless," one of them said. "Emotion leakage again?" asked another. "Yes, memories are resurfacing." "Then wipe them." "We've tried. His neural roots are too deep. He's evolving faster than the control matrix can stabilize." A silence fell over the room. Then a cold voice spoke. "Then release him." All eyes turned to the speaker. It was Supreme Commander Velith. "Earth's fleet has begun liberation missions," she said. "We will send Subject Zero ahead of them. One ship, one weapon. No survivors. But what if she cut him off, if he fails? We activate the detonator in his chest." "But I don't think he will," she smiled. "He still thinks he's human." Back aboard the Revenant, Earth's intelligence AI found a disturbing signal. A fast-approaching vessel, one with no origin, no call sign, but matching Earth's lost human biosignatures. "A perfect match could be one of ours," someone said. Kara narrowed her eyes. "Or one of theirs." They intercepted the ship's signal. A message played, just for words. "Coming home. Open door." Amir's jaw clenched. "Shields up. Target it." "No," Kara said slowly. "Let's see what it wants." The ship docked with the Revenant. Its doors hissed open, and out stepped a man tall, human.com. Unarmed. "I'm Eli," he said softly. "I think I was born on Earth." They scanned him. He was human, but his heartbeat was too steady, his muscles too dense. He smiled like a man, but his eyes were cold. "I want to help," he said. Amir studied him. "How do we know you're not here to kill us?" Eli's smile faded. "Because if I was, you'd already be dead." Silence. Then Kara stepped forward. "You were made by them," she said, "but you're one of us." "Maybe," he replied. "Or maybe I'm both, but I know what they're planning. I've seen their real war map. They're not just targeting Earth anymore. They're targeting everyone you helped." In a secured room, Lai explained it all. The Council's final campaign, one that would hit all rising rebel worlds in a synchronized attack using experimental weapons, and more Helix soldiers like him, only worse, unthinking, unfeeling, obedient. He had escaped before they activated the rest. He wanted to stop them, but deep inside him, something pulsed, a dead man's switch. If he betrayed the Council, he'd explode from the inside. He was a time bomb, and he knew it. Amir made the call. "Help us stop them," he said.
Ow.
"And we'll find a way to disarm your core." Eli nodded. "You'll need me. I know where the Council's prime vault is." "What's there?" Kara asked. He looked up. The backup mines, the command seeds, the last failsafe. He paused, and the rest of Project Helix. In orbit, far beyond Pluto, a silent signal flashed. A Council AI received it. Status: Subject. 0 has broken protocol. Response: Activate contingency. Target: REVENANT. Countdown: 48 hours. But deep inside Eli's mind, something else awakened. Something older than any implant. A memory of Earth, of a choice. And this time, he would not obey. Not the Council, not anyone. Only what felt right. And that meant war. The stars over Earth dimmed, not from nightfall, but from the arrival of the end. Over 1,000 Council warships merged from folded space above the solar system. Planet crackers, anti-star weapons.
Yes.
Genetic bombers, every doomsday tool ever built. Aimed at one single planet Earth, they thought we were still primitive, still fractured, still blind to the threat. But they didn't know what had changed. They didn't know who was waiting for them. Eli had awakened. He wasn't the Council's weapon anymore. He was ours. And he wasn't alone, because Earth's darkest programs had gone online too. And now the galaxy would learn. What happens when you push humanity too far? The alarms echoed through the command deck of Earth's Defense Corps. Thousands of red markers lit up the system map. The solar system was being surrounded. "Final fleet confirmed," said the defense AI. "Multiple dreadnoughts. Supercarrier nodes. Weapon arrays, ... are charging." Admiral Kiraman stood silent at the window of Earth's orbital defense platform, Citadel 1. Beside her floated General Eli. He was no longer dressed in a jumpsuit. He wore Earth combat armor sealed. Synced to his DNA, strapped to his back was a pulse cannon made for planetary rupture. But he was more dangerous than the weapon. He had changed fully, no longer part human. Part-alien. Now just one thing. Humanity's rage given form. "We have 30 minutes," said Kara Deacon from the Revenant's bridge. "Their main guns will be in range." Eli nodded. "Then we hit first." Amir leaned forward. "With what?" Idila raised his hand and pointed at the hidden section of Earth's outer belt. "There," he said. "Bring it online, you call it. Project Forge, right?" Kira froze. "That's classified," she said. "Not anymore," Eli replied. "You're going to need it." In 2097, Earth had begun one last secret defense plan. Buried inside a hollowed-out asteroid, a living AI shipyard Project Forge it could print entire fleets using solar matter. Weapons were coded into its very walls. Self-evolving designs. No two ships alike, but it was unfinished. Until now, Eli synced with its core. In under 2 minutes, the forge activated. Spinal weapons twisted into shape. Drones launched. Frigates unfolded from molten frames. Earth was no longer waiting. It was building. The Council fleet moved into attack formation. Each dreadnought aligned its beam cores. Velith, the Supreme Commander, stood aboard the flagship Sovereign Light. She stared at Earth, below and impressed. "These primitives have no hope." Her aide paused. "New signal, Commander. What now?" "Unknown vessels forming in the belt. Unmapped. Class. There's ... hundreds." She laughed. "They're throwing garbage at us." Then the feed zoomed in. One of the new ships shimmered, disappeared, and reappeared behind her dreadnought. Too late. The new ship opened fire. 1 beam, 1 kill. The dreadnought. The aide whispered, "Earth has evolved. All across the solar system. Earth's forces launched. The Revenant led the charge. Eli dropped from orbit like a meteor straight into the belly of the Sovereign Light. He tore through walls. He bypassed security with a thought, and when he found Velith, she was already activating the self-destruct. "I created you," she hissed. "You belong to us." Eli shook his head. "You created a mirror," he said. "Now look at yourself." Crushed the detonator in her hand, and then he said the last words she'd ever hear. "Earth doesn't belong to you." He let her live, but locked her inside a lifeboat, drifting toward the black hole near Neptune, above Earth. The last wave of enemy ships tried to retreat, but Forge had adapted. It launched stealth hunters, ships with minds of their own. The last Council Armada never made it home. The battle was over in under 90 minutes. The galaxy's most powerful fleet. Gondot Earth stood tall, scarred, yes, but victorious. Later in the ashes of battle, the Council's war database was cracked wide open. They had more Helix prototypes, more weapons hidden on faraway moons. Worse still, they had lists, worlds dayed. Already destroyed species they'd erased. They thought they were gods, but they weren't. Now, Earth had their secrets, and their ships, and their fear, because something new had happened that day. Humanity didn't just survive, it became a galactic power. But not just for war. For justice, Eli stood alone. Watching Earth from low orbit, Kara approached him. "You could go now," she said. "You're free." "I'm not leaving," Eli replied. "There's still more to fix. What are you going to do?" He turned slowly, eyes glowing. "I'm going to make sure no one else builds monsters like me." Across the stars, scattered species heard whispers of a world once called primitive. Planet that once rode in trucks and hunted in forests, now home to a fleet that destroyed the Council. Now home to something far worse than weapons. People who remembered everything. And refused to bow ever again.